Week 7, Monday. A reading from the homilies of Saint Gregory of Nyssa on the book of Ecclesiastes. The wise man's eyes are fixed on his head. If the soul should raise its eyes towards its head, which is Christ, as Paul says, then it would be counted among the blessed as being sharp-sighted, having its eyes where there is no shadow of evil. That same great Paul and any others as great as he fixed their eyes on that head, as to all who live and move and have their being in Christ. As it is impossible for anyone who lives in light to see the darkness, so it is not possible that he who fixes his eyes on Christ should lower them to dwell on vanities. For he who has his eyes on his head, by head we mean the origin of all things, has them fixed on all virtue. For Christ is the all-complete virtue, on truth, on justice, on incorruption, and on all that is good. So the eyes of the wise man are on his head, but the fool walks in darkness. For he who does not put his lamp on the lampstand, but hides it under the base of his bed, turns that light into darkness for himself. How many there are, on the other hand, who are engaged in lofty contests and are occupied in contemplation of things which really exist, and yet are considered blind and useless in material things, as Paul boasted that he was, saying that he was a fool for Christ's sake. He did not exercise his prudence and knowledge on those things which enthrall us here below, for, as he said, we are fools for Christ's sake, as though to say, we are blind to the life here below, because we lift up our eyes and fix them on our head. For this reason, he lived without stool or table, poor, wandering, naked, suffering hunger and thirst. And who would not have thought him pitiful, seeing him in fetters, insulted with blows, plunged into the waves of the sea by shipwreck, and led round in chains? But even whilst he suffered all this among men, he did not turn away his eyes, but always kept them steadfastly towards the head, saying, who will separate us from the love of Christ, which is in Christ Jesus? Affliction, distress, persecution, hunger, nakedness, danger, or the sword? Which is as though to say, who shall tear my eyes out from my head and bring them to what should be trodden underfoot? And he calls upon us to do the same when he gives the command, occupy your minds with things that are above. In other words, have your eyes fixed on the head.